Okay, welcome back to the part 2 of this class. So, like I was trying to say it last time, or in last class. So I'm trying to say there are things you need to know. There are something called dictionary. Dictionary is like a definition of term or a definition of abbreviations in a data set given to you to work on. You understand? So the client is expected to explain what those abbreviations are meant. For instance, you are just a data analyst and you're working on health data sets, and you know that you're not a health practitioner, but you have the knowledge to carry out such analysis on health. So there are some certain abbreviations that are basically like a terminologies for health practitioners, you understand, or terminologies for medical doctors, something like that, that you might find in the data. It is the work of you as a data analyst to request for the full meaning of that particular abbreviation for you to maybe simplify it to your own knowledge and to the way others will understand. You know, one of the good quality of a data analyst is breaking down a complex unit and making it simplify even to a layman. So you put the term, change the term from what they know it to be to what everybody can access it to. So the knowledge behind those abbreviations are what we call dictionary. So every data must have their own dictionary. For instance, this UK, US, for instance, yes, it is known to be a country in this case, but you are expected to define it in a way that everybody will understand that the USA you are talking about is basically for the country, not for something else, because this could mean a different thing. It could be United South Africa, depending. So it's left for you to define it, maybe in a different document or a different sheet, explaining what this actually meant. So every abbreviation in your data set are expected to be explained in a different sheet before you are ready, so that when you are presenting, because you are presenting to people who doesn't have this your knowledge, you are presenting to business owners, you are presenting to different personalities that need a breakdown, a total breakdown of your analysis. So you must give them the explanation in a simple term. So that is why you need to define those stuff, or you need to get their dictionaries. So like I said, the dictionary is just what we know to be dictionary, like the definition of terms. So any abbreviation in your data set is expected to be defined. That is for dictionary. So now again, once a data set is given to you, the next thing you need to do is to count the number of rows and columns to know how many rows and columns was the data before it was given to you, or how many rows and columns did the data have before you start working on it, something like that. This gives you a proper documentation, you understand, before every other thing you do. So this is actually a shoe data set. So please permit me to rename it and call it shoe data set. From here, I'll type shoes data set. So this automatically have, okay, let me rename it. I think I made a mistake somewhere. So this automatically reflects here, because I said here shows the number of data sets what you have here. And if you have more than 2 or 3 tables in this particular Power Query, it will be reflecting here. Number of queries, all these informations are queries, are what we call queries. So this is the property or query settings where you can fix the query in the way you want it. So the next thing we need to do is to start working on this data now. First of all, we want to separate these columns, these particular headers in a different column. You can see here now we have country, we have date, we have shoe type, we have unit sold, we have price per unit. You understand? So I want it to be in a different column. So because of that, I will separate this column. So what I will do here is just come to the header here and right click. I will go down to an option called split column. This can also be found in the home. You can go to home and come here and see split column, but make sure the particular data set or particular column you want to split is selected in this case. So that's why you come here, right click and do that. So you can come to the header and right click, you see split column there. Or you can select the column and come to home, you see split column here. So depending on the option you want to use, it's still the same procedure. So the next thing it will ask you the options you want to use to split this particular column. The first one is by delimiter, the second one by number of characters, the third one by positions, by lowercase to uppercase, by uppercase to lowercase, by digit to non-digit, non-digit to digit. These are just criterions at which you can split this column. But in this case, we are just trying to split this column by delimiter. What is the delimiter there? Anything separating two values, be it comma, be it any sign or symbol, is called delimiter. You understand? So in that case, we'll be using the delimiter. The number of character explains how many characters do you want to split. For instance, assuming from Nigeria here is joined with this date, and you want to split by number of characters, it's left for you to count how many characters you want. Maybe let's say you just need 2023 alone. 2023 alone. You first of all count from here to there 2023. How many characters you will get? That's what you will type in the number of characters. It will remove every information before the 2023 and leaving that particular 2023. But in this case, we'll be cleaning based on number of delimiter. You understand? So you click the delimit by delimiter. Now, automatically here it will show you what delimiter is. That is this. This is the symbol that separated the information. So that is why you saw it in this manner. So you just selected the delimiter because you already know what the delimiter is. Now the delimiter option here says leftmost delimiter, rightmost delimiter, each occurrence of the delimiter. Leftmost simply means select every information, remove all this delimiter, then push the information that is the outcome to the left. Do you understand? Then this one says to the right, push the outcome to the right. Okay, let me do an example of what I mean. This is it. To the left, this will be the outcome. Did you understand? And this is not what I need. I have to go back to cancel the step. If you check very well now, split column by delimiter, that is what I just did. So I'll go to that particular one and click cancel. That you click the X there. It will return it to normal. So I'll go again, select this particular column and click. Then if I do to the right, it will move it this way. Just watch. Opposite of the left. This is actually not what I need. So I'll cancel this step. Then what I just need is the third one, which is each occurrence of the delimiter, meaning split this column based on the occurrence of the delimiter. the way they appear, split it the way they appear. If they appear in 15 times, in 15 columns or in 15 times, they split it in 15 ways or in 15 times they appear, something like that. Each occurrence of the delimiter. So if you check very well, this is 1 representing this one. This is 2 representing this one. And so I'll just click OK. You see what is good. There's nothing here. If I click this column filter, this is a filter. If I click this column filter, I'll scroll to see what is inside. If you check very well, you see null and blank. There's nothing else in this particular column, so it's blank. So what I will do is to delete this. So I'll right click and click remove, or select this particular column and come here and click remove. You can see that now. So the next one, now I want to remove this particular header that says, sure, here's a, so this particular header is indicating the data set we are using. So I want to remove this header and also remove this column, row 1 that has nothing inside. Open it and scroll down. That is, you have to click the column filter and scroll down to check what is inside. So if you check very well, there are just 5 countries: Germany, Japan, Nigeria, UK, and USA. So there's nothing here. There's a dash, 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 dash in that particular data set, and we don't need it. I will uncheck it, and I will remove the null there. The next thing there is country. Country is seen as a data, but I want to use this country as a header. So what I will do, I will still leave it. I will not uncheck it because I will want to use it as a header. The dash I just unchecked is this dash information you are seeing here now. So I will OK it. Every dash there will remove. You can see that. So the next thing now is to call this column row 1 to make it the header and remove this particular information that is representing the header. So what I will just do is to click this particular one and come to home. Like I told you, whenever you're using add column, it is expected that your data or your information will be returned in a new column. So I'll come to home. So what I will click here is just if you check now, see this place. If you go to home, you see this place. Use first row as header. Use first row as header. So I'll come here. You see a drop down button. I'll click the drop down button. The drop down button says use first row as header, or the other one says use header as first row. So the second one is actually what is happening to this data set, which says use header as first row. So if I say use header as first row, this particular information here now will come to row 1. Why this row 1 will go up? But I don't need this particular header at all. I want to remove it from the data and use this row 1 as the header. So because of that, I will click the first one because this first one meets the criteria of what I'm looking for. So you've seen it now. It has automatically worked the way I want. At least it's looking reasonable, like how the data came. Now, the next thing we need to do is just trying to know the number of so after you might have done that, the next thing now is you counting the number of rows and columns. And everything you are doing here is expected to be documented. You are expected to be documenting every process followed up in this particular data. In presenting your data, it is done in two ways. We'll have business analysis or business presentation rather, and technical presentation. Business presentation are basically how the analysis will improve the business organization, and it's basically done to business owners like board of directors and all that, manager and all that, directors. So they are the kind of people you just explain the particular information to, telling them how it will improve their business. Then the technical aspects are just like a back end work, that is a behind scene, how this work was made, and they are basically done, or you basically explain those thoughts to those who are into the same field with you that actually wants to know. If the organization requests for that, fine. But every organization always look at three major things: how to minimize cost, how to maximize profit, and how to grow. Minimization of cost, maximization of profit, and expansion, that is growth. So your analysis must be in consonance with these three things. Your analysis must answer these three questions for them. That is for business presentation. Then technical presentation is basically how the whole code analysis and all that was made, the stories behind it, the technical part, like all these parts are technical parts. Documenting all these are part of the technical part. I don't know if you understand that. So this is like a back end, because this is like a process to get to the end story, build the dashboard and all that. So what you need to be doing is to always document what you're doing. How do you do that? In every step carried out in your analysis or in the process, you expected to document it by screen grabbing your work or screenshotting your work actually. So there are ways you can do this. There are actually ways you can do this. So how to screen grab? How to screen grab? Just you hold Shift Control X. Sorry, okay. Sorry, Shift Window X and select the particular space or shape you want to actually snipe. So everybody should do it. Once you are using your system, do the same thing. Shift Window S to screen grab your entire screen. So every procedure taken, every step applied, you expected to do what? Show how it is gotten for technical reasons and for documentary purposes. So now, the next thing we need to do is to count rows, to count the number of rows and column. By default, Power Query shows you the number of rows in your work once the rows is not more than 1,000. But if the row is more than 1,000, it will just show you 999 plus. So the rest will not be shown. How will you get to know about the remaining rows? If you check here, you will see 7 columns and 30 rows. It's because the data set are not that much. But if the data set is more than 1,000, it will just show you 999 rows. So the rest, you will find it out yourself. How are you going to do that? Just come to transform. You under transform, you see transpose, you see reverse row, and you see count rows. Just click count rows, but make sure a column is selected. So count rows, and it will show you 30 rows. You are expected to screen grab this for documentary purposes. This is actually the technical part of this analysis. So always do that. Then now you are done, you have seen the number of rows and you want to continue with your work. So like I said, you can't go back by doing Ctrl Z. How will you go back? Is you go to the settings, the apply steps, and cancel the step taken. So to screen grab is Shift Window S, hold it together. Shift Window S, you screen grab your system or your work. So that is how it is done. Then let me take it a bit. So I just counted rows. And I noticed it's 30 in number. So I went back to my step and canceled the step. Now, the next thing is ensuring that each column has an appropriate data type. Now, I asked a question. A question could be thrown to you that, what is a data type? A data type is, in quotes, a type of data or a kind of data a column can hold. This is a kind of data a column can hold. For instance, numbers, like I said, we have two basic categories of data, the categorical data and the numeric data. So every information that are in numerics are expected to be in number base, depending on the type of numerics. So under the number base, you could have currency, or could have time, and all that. All these are under number base. Under category, we will have name, color, and all that. So in that case, you must ensure that the data is an appropriate data type. You understand? So you get to know about that through here. This is the data type. This logo here, or this sign, shows the data type. So this is, in this case, we'll call this a test. This is test. Maybe this is actually test. So because his name is alphabetical, so it's test. So it's either you come and click this particular logo to check or put the column in appropriate data type, which is this test, or right-clicking on the column header, go to transform, change type. Change type is either you click on the logo here, or right-clicking on the header, go to change type, and you see the data type, different data type. So I normally advise to use a logo. The logo helps you to understand the data type easily than when you are right-clicking it. This decimal number simply means the numeric number must be in a decimal places. That is why you have decimal here. So any number, any value in decimal are expected to be in decimal number. Currency, whenever we are using data, currency data type are basically for money. So if you're talking about money, you're expected to use currency. Whole number, this is like in SQL or MySQL, this whole number are what we call integer. So they are like whole number that does not have a decimal. You understand? Like 1, 10, 20, that does not have fraction. You understand? So whole number is a number without a decimal point. Percentage is when you want to express a number in percentage, or any number that's in percentage is expected to be under this particular data type. Then date and time. You see information about date at the same time has time with it. In that case, it's not just data type, but a date and time data type. Example is this one. If you check this one is just date. There's no time associated to it. So in that case, we just leave it at that. Now, another one is date. That is a data type that does not have time associated to it. It's just date. The next one is time, just time alone. So we have this one like a zone, time zone. Time zone, this is duration, depending on the information you have. So if the information gives you any of this, you know the right data type to use. Text is a basically alphabetical data type. True or false is basically yes and no data type. Any, like for instance, you see a column that just have yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, all true. In that case, it is called a Boolean, true or false. We call it, the data type is called Boolean data type. So in this case, you know, it is represented with true or false, which is yes, no, true or false, something like that. It is called a Boolean. In MySQL, this test is called varchar and all that. So for this case, we'll be using the name it is called here to avoid getting us confused. Then binary are basically 0 and 1. They are data type basically used for pictures, for instance. That is why we are here. That is what we are going to do now. We are definitely going to work on it. So the screen grabbing is just Shift Window S to get the screen grab. So we definitely have to work on this whole data type. So like I said lastly, the binary is basically for pictures, 0 and 1, or things like that. So binary is pictures, and these are locals. If you want to set your own data type, you can go like a custom, can go and get yours right. So because of this, based on what I just explained, we'll be changing the data type based on the information in the column or the information the column is holding. So the first one now is a text data type because every information here are in text. So it's expected that we leave it in alphabet or text, which is correct. The date, if you check very well here, the date is in text and it is correct. How do I mean? If you check very well, you see hyphen separating the date. This alone makes it a text. And even a slash, it will be in a date data type. Let's try it out. If I change data type to date, you see. So the data type is expected to be in date, not in text. If you check very well, it was a text because of those hyphen. But now I've changed the data type from text to date. It helps us to change it from hyphen to slash. The next one is shoe types. Shoe type is in text, so it's expected to be in text, which is correct. Unit sold is in text, so this data type is very, very wrong. So it should be in numerics, and the numerics should be whole number because there's no 1.5 shoes. There's no 2.5 shoes. So everything here is expected to be in whole number. So put it in whole number because there's no decimal here. And the reason why, if you check now, I change it from text, it moved to the right hand side. So the reason for that is because it is a numeric. It's a numeric data. That is why it moved to the right hand side. But if it is a text, like the data came, it will come to the left. So every data set here you see to the left every information you see to the left is automatically, without you being told, the data set, the data type is in test. So it's left for you to know if the column is expected to be in test or not. If yes, you leave it, but if no, you have to change the data type. Ensure you change the data type. Always ensure you change the data type. So it should be in whole number, because there's no 1.5 shoes. Shoe does not have half. So because of that, there will not be any decimal. So it will be wrong for me to say 1 point decimal number. It will be very, very wrong for me to add decimal at the back. No, 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 no. So it should be whole number. Now, unit price. In this case now, unit price, this is price. We are talking about money here. So it should be in currency, not in text. If you check now, the information is by the left hand side. So we'll change it to currency. It will move to the right. Total sales. Sales is the same thing as revenue. Sales is equal to revenue, because unit price multiplied by unit sold give us total sales. You understand that? So it's the same thing as revenue, because quantity multiplied by price is the same thing as revenue. So I will leave the name as total sales, but I'll change the data type to currency, because we're talking about money in this case, currency. So there's nothing here in this column. I'll prefer deleting it. That is either I select this and click remove. I'll remove that particular column. So I've changed the data type to the appropriate data types. That is one. These are like the procedures for the basis data cleaning. One is ensuring the number of rows and columns. That is by counting the rows and columns. Two, ensuring the data types are appropriate. That is it. The third one we'll be doing here is what I call trimming. All the data sets, all the data type under test is expected to be trimmed to ensure there's no space before and after the information. So come here, you right click and go to transform. Transform, you see trim. If you check very well, I drew the data back to the line. All the data in that particular data type will be trimmed to get it right. You're expected to trim all the data under test. Now, there's another thing we need to do. I want us to just, because we'll be doing, let's say, a trend analysis also. So because of that, I'll be needing maybe the months. I'll be needing weekday, the day name. I want to know the day that sells more, the months that sells more, and the quarter. Also, if this analysis or this data cleaning is based on the objective you want to achieve, it is not just based on what you are reasoning. It is based on your aim for that particular analysis. So if the objective is, I want to get this, I want to get that, you'll be cleaning your data and you'll be transforming your data based on the objective. This is what I mean. You have a plan of getting the information about the best selling months. That means you need to use the date column to get it. Okay, let's wait for the part 3 of this particular class, and let's stay tuned. Thank you for your time and keep watching.